Hi BookTube, I'm here today with my July TBR. I thought I'd film outside, so apologize for any outdoor sounds you might hear, but that's what happens when you are outside. Yes, I decided to film here in front of my little container garden, my little potted garden here. Yeah, so let's just get into it. My theme for this month, I decided to read by theme, is oceans. Because it's fitting for summer and because I actually came across a lot of audiobooks that I wanted to listen to that had to do with oceans and history, and so I decided to just run with it. So I'm not reading all nonfiction, but the caveat of all the books that I want to read either had to mention water in some way, or the author has to be from an island. So I thought that was a pretty cool way to shimmy some reading in there. I have a good collection of physical and like non-physical books that I want to try. So let's get to it. And there's a lot, I think there's like 24 books here, so I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but you know, I like to be a little ambitious, and I'm really looking forward to this theme. So my Around the World challenge and all my other challenges still fit. So let's get into it. For Around the World, I only chose 3 books. There are some other books that I'll be reading that could fit into the Around the World challenge, but on purpose I picked 3. Okay, I'm gonna continue the Malazan series again. I took about a month off between books there, and it's very fitting because it's called Midnight Tides. Yeah, and there's water on the cover. I believe in this one we're going back to a battle between different tribes in the Tiste Eater. If you know the Malazan series, that will make sense. If you don't, it probably won't make sense, but yeah, I have it tabbed out to read. Hopefully get read in like 2 months. So this will continue over into August. Next I have The Waves by Virginia Woolf. That just made sense to me. And this says on the back that it's about a passage from childhood to maturity, and it's supposed to be told in like an ebb and a flow to mimic the waves. And I haven't really read any Virginia Woolf outside of A Room of One's Own. So yeah, I should fill in that gap in my reading schedule. And then I was sitting there and I saw this book on my shelf, A Door into Ocean by Joan Slonczewski. And yeah, this is a, well, it's called a feminist science fiction about a planet full of women, and there's a neighboring civilization decides to come over and develop the ocean world that they're on. So that will be interesting. Oh, Birmingham City University. It's a discard from there. Pretty cool. And then for And then I picked up The Back of the Turtle by Thomas King. And there's lots of reasons why I chose this one. First of all, it takes place on Turtle Island. So there we go. And it has water on the cover. And turtles are a water creature. I needed an Indigenous author, and I've only ever read Thomas King's non-fiction stuff. I have never read a piece of fiction by him. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's really short chapters, so I think this will go by fast, even though it's a big chunky book here. And last of the physical books is The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut, because sirens are a ocean creature, and the moon of Titan has water on it, we think. And this is a Kurt Vonnegut novel. It's gonna be weird. It's one of my favorites of his, but it's been so long since I've read it. And it's about the meaning of life. So that would be cool. Okay, now I have a handy dandy notepad here with all my non-physical books that I have on this list that I want to read this month. So we'll begin with fiction. I got The Deep by Rivers Solomon. First of all, their name is Rivers, so that has to do with water, which is pretty cool. And The Deep is about mermaids. So like, there we go. And it's been all over BookTube. You've probably heard of it, but it's about the descendants of slaves who were thrown off the ship have evolved into mermaids. Yeah. And then I got The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Rafi. She's also from Trinidad, which is also an island, so that might count towards my, apologies for the big gust of wind, that might count for my Around the World challenge there. And it has to do with a mermaid. I actually didn't look up too much what it's about. I think it's a love story between a fisherman and a mermaid. Don't quote me on that. And then I wanted a book with disability rep, and I heard about Christy Brown. And he, I believe, has cerebral palsy, and he writes with his left foot. So that sounds pretty cool. And this is a fiction called Down All the Days. And how this fits into the ocean theme is that he's from Ireland, which is an island. So it's a bit of a stretch for that one, but yeah. And that's about just growing up in Ireland. Non-fiction, I'll be attempting to read these ones. I got Imperiled Ocean by Laura Trethway, which is, I think it's actually a collection of essays and stuff about like the ecology of the ocean and fishing and overfishing and stuff like that. The Boundless Sea by David Abluafia, which is another history of the ocean. And then another stretch, this is probably the biggest stretch on here. I got Beyond Belief by Jenna Miscavige Hill, and you might recognize Miscavige because it has to do with Scientology, and it's her escaping Scientology. And Scientology has this section called the Sea Corps, and I figured, a bit strenuous reach, but try finding another book about religion and the water. I'm pretty sure there's some more out there, but I figured this was a book I already have, so I'll go for that one. And then my audiobooks, this is what started it off. The Ocean of Churn by Sanjeev Sanyal, and this is how, I think it's subtitled How the Indian Ocean Shaped Humanity. And I've actually already started listening to it because I had no other audiobook lined up for June, so I figured why not get a head start on the July reading. And it gets right from the beginning, like he talks about how the ocean was formed, and the beginning of humanity and the migration through India. So he's like starting right from the very beginning. And then there's Slavery at Sea by Sawande M. Mustaqim, which is about the transportation of slaves from Africa to America. And then I got All the Murmuring Bones, and I should have looked this up, but I think it has to do with mermaids again, by A.G. Slater, in case I want to listen to something fiction on audio instead of non-fiction. And then I have a bunch of comics. I literally just went to my comic website, just searched like water, ocean, sea, and got what came up. So I have, oh, and then Aquaman, because, I mean, when you think of water, you think of Aquaman. So I got Aquaman Unspoken Water by Kelly C. Kelly Sue DeConnick. Yeah, it's an Aquaman thing. I didn't look too much into the Aquaman comics. I just figured, you know, it's going to be a superhero fighting a supervillain story. And then I got Aquaman by Peter David, and it's a collection of all the stories that he did for Aquaman. Then I got Hearts at Sea by Cyril Pedrosa, and this is actually French, translated into English, so I could count that for France. I tend not to count the comics towards it, but it's an option there. And this is about a man who seems to have an unremarkable life, is how it's described, and he decides to go on a singles cruise by himself, so that'll be interesting. And then I got Lost at Sea by Brian Lee O'Malley. He did Scott Pilgrim and Seconds, which I both love. And this one, I just read like the first line of the description, which was that the main character, I can't remember her name, has sold her soul to a cat. So I think it's a joke that she says to kind of attribute her her not caring, I guess. It seems really interesting. He always has really interesting characters. And then I got Ocean Orbiter by Warren Ellis, because I just love Warren Ellis's comics. And this one seems to be about, takes place on Europa, so we're visiting 2 moons of Saturn, or Jupiter here. Titan and Europa, and there's oceans on Europa, and there's like a human colony there, and stuff happens. Then I got You Brought Me the Ocean by Alex Sanchez, which is a YA LGBT plus coming of age, I think is what I got from it. And lastly, I got Mishka and the Sea Devil by Zinnia Pamphl, and she's from Romania, so that might count towards reading around the world again. And that is about this girl gets shipwrecked on an island, and she has to make deals with the Sea Devil. But it seems like it's more like fun instead of like creepy. So yeah, that is my July TBR. Please don't give me any recommendations because that's more than enough reading for now. But let me know what you'll be reading this month, and thank you for watching.